When you're in Tallinn, you need never feel alone and never get lost. Just follow the footsteps and find yourself walking in the footsteps of giants. Good morning from Tallinn, almost in the shadow of Fat Margaret's tower, as you could probably see. We've got this interesting tree. It seems as though it's a hackleberry tree. I don't know if hackleberries are the same as what North Americans refer to as huckleberries, or if they're quite different. What's interesting is the leaves on the tree are either almost mahogany purple colour, which I'm not sure if this camera really picks up, or they are green, which makes identification, if you look online to see images that Google or DuckDuckGo brings up, yeah, identification's a bit tricky, but this looks like we've got hackleberry fruits, and the tree right next door cornelian cherries, which I'm indebted to the hostel receptionist for identifying for me. Well, if I was a real skinflint backpacker, I'd be picking these fruits because they're both edible, washing them, mashing them up, and popping them inside a pancake, which I'd prepare in the hostel kitchen. But maybe no. Not on this occasion. But there you have a cheap lunch or cheap breakfast. Fruits on the doorstep of the hostel. And there's even more over here. What an abundance. And just look at this. If those other fruits weren't enough to tempt you, right behind the Opera House and Concert Hall, there are a very large number of little green apples freshly fallen from the trees. Again, it's almost as though nature is saying, what the hell are you doing going to a supermarket to buy your breakfast when we've got all these fruits on offer, and there's that free lemon juice in the hostel kitchen, that free sort of half bag of flour, scraping of cooking oil. Maybe I should be making those mixed fruit pancakes. Here's a nice unexpected garden feature. Well, park feature more than garden, unless you've got a very elaborate garden at home. Skirting around the edge of the old town, there are various stretches of greenery, and here's one which includes a rather elaborate fountain with a curious sculpture at the top, but it seems like a very nice little spot to come, especially on a hot summer's day, as there are a lot of trees around and you're so close to the old town itself. You can access that by just going up some steps over there. And in front of us now is the bust of a man's head and shoulders. I wonder who he is. We're approaching the side of a Russian cultural centre. Presumably then he's going to be connected with Russian society in 19th century Tallinn. Not a bad guess, is it? Or is it? Let's have a look. You can see on the frieze in the background behind those pillars there are various figures, athletes, runners, boxers, other sporting characters. But in the foreground we've got this obelisk with a man's head at the top, and this is apparently Fyodor Dostoyevsky. So the name I recognise, the face I don't. Presumably then, and again I'm guessing, that this commemorates the great author's visit to Tallinn, or a period of time he lived in Tallinn. I can't see any dates, sometimes that gives it away. Okay, it's a mystery, but for people who love Dostoyevsky's novels, you might want to come and check this out, just to pay your respects. He's not buried here, I presume, although he could be. No, he couldn't be, could he? No, I'm sure he's not. And here what we have is another one of those little antique shops which I like to stick my nose into. Unfortunately, I have been past this one a couple of times, more than a couple of times I think, 3 or 4 times, and on each occasion the story's been the same. Regardless of the time of day or day of the week, the place has been closed up. I don't know what's going on, perhaps I've just been a bit unlucky. And nice to have a look around there. Old postcards, old money from not just Estonia, but other parts of the world as well. Stamps, pieces of jewellery. Watch out for low-flying aircraft. Well, that was interesting. It looked as though it was actually a glider from a distance. Not sure what it was. I presume it was a commercial flight of some kind, or a private plane, I suppose. Something definitely in need of an upgrade on the wall here. Must have looked very nice when it was first done. Time and weather has ravaged it rather. Still, you can see the potential for an attractive oldie-worldy map of the old town. If you don't want to crane your neck, or if there isn't enough detail there, here's a nice bigger one, together with some prints of 19th century paintings of how Tallinn looked at the time. And up there is the map. I've come up onto a little raised park area, which obviously was once a part of fortification, mud bank, but now has been turned into a little park without its original features still here, so very difficult to tell what its purpose was as a small bandstand over there, and some more detail we might learn from information boards. Oh my goodness, what have we stumbled across? This is the Kissing Hill. Oh, my eyes divert to that horse-drawn tram which was responsible. Its construction was responsible for the demolition of the gate. I'm getting a bit obsessed about this demolition of the Viru Gate, aren't I? But here we're on top of Kissing Hill, Virumagi. Aha! It's located on the preserved part of the Bremen Bastion, which was designed in 1686, but only partly built. Ah, that explains why it kind of looked a little bit strange. Bigger redesign works in Viru Hill took place in 1897, when under the leading of Tallinn city gardener Hugo Valka, the park rich with species and bending roads was built here. A famous landscape gardener Georg Kupwald from Riga designed the park. The pavilion, designed by architect Nikolai Tam Sr., made the park impressive. It is preserved up to the present time. The triangular sphere on the side of Viru Square with the fountain got its form already at the Tsar time. Present time box hedge and rosebud design comes from 1945. And I am just here. So it is a very small park, really, and the bandstand is extremely small. There are, however, a couple of sculptures, and as it's called Kissing Hill, it's inevitable, I suppose, that we're going to be cast as the interlopers. However, these two don't look to me as though they're kissing. Not sure what they're doing on Kissing Hill. Go on, kiss her. Maybe he is. Perhaps just my eyesight, I can't make out the finer detail. It's inevitable that you need to walk on the grass in any case if you wish to get a better view of our lovers kissing here. Which is not quite happening, but again, perhaps for modesty's sake, although given the nakedness of the all four of the stone characters here, doesn't really seem to fit. We have the anticipation of the kiss. Almost missed this. A tower which looks as though it's been converted at some point into something else and now been left a little bit, well, dilapidated, but still it's standing and obviously is a dwelling of some kind, I suppose. It's just nestled in alongside a building which includes some very nice sculptured classical forms up at the top there. As you can see, the building has actually been built at the back to accommodate the curve of the tower. So should be grateful that nobody just decided to knock down the tower, smash through, and build a standard shaped building to operators. I don't know, it's got the air of a former hotel about it. Unfortunately, because of the trees over there, I can't get up to a level which would allow me to get a better view of those decorative figures at the top. Never mind, can't have everything, can we? And I would like to say, here's where I'm going to be laying my head this evening. But I'm not staying at the Savoy Boutique Hotel, which I don't suppose comes as a surprise to anyone. After all, it's not a place where a cheap guy's going to be staying, is it? However, in close proximity to the Savoy Boutique Hotel is the My City Hotel, in a nice curved building. We're right on the cusp of the old town, and the real reason I decided just to get distracted from my walk and step right up to the border is this figure here, who looks like a chimney sweep to me. I don't know if he is. I suppose these represent muddy footprints, or perhaps coal dusty footprints. Unfortunately, there's no obvious little plaque to go along with the character to give information regarding his history. So whether this jaunty man was a real figure from Tallinn's history, or perhaps he was a character from Estonian literature, I really don't know, but I always like these little quirky figures, don't you? And we're so close to being able to just step into the old town and stroll around, but no, I don't think I will today. What I will do is just go that little step further. See how I keep changing my mind? Can't help it. I get this urge, as we all do as tourists. We get drawn in to see a little bit more, don't we? And okay, the fountain isn't as nice as I was expecting it to be. However, in the background, there is what appears to me to be some strange neoclassical socialist realist construction. Supras, which now appears to house a Bonbon Club, Club Hollywood and a cinema. All a little bit different, which is probably why it's still containing its own individual appeal. And up there's another tower, and I could walk up there, but no, pull yourself away, man. Stick to your plan. Stick to the route and come back here to investigate the central part of the old town on another day. Aha, I see there's some people who are getting the inside information on the jaunty chimney sweep. That's what I'm calling him anyway. Just 100 metres up the road from our jaunty chimney sweep, there's another little place which you might wonder why I'm stopping and bothering to video. It's a late night fast food stop if for any reason you're right in the centre of Tallinn, very close to the Vabaduza Valyak, which is behind us, Freedom Square, but I'm reliably informed by local folk that this place does actually serve the best late night fast food, or even early morning fast food, I guess, depending on how well your partying went. As you can see, it's got the usual things available, burger wise and chips wise, but for some reason this place does have a reputation of serving slightly better, or perhaps a lot better, fast food, street food, however they call it these days, if you're so inclined. So if you stumble out of a bar in Tallinn, head for Vabaduza Valyak, and just a short distance from the big white cross you'll find this eatery. You can't sit down and enjoy the burger, or I see they also have various things in there like potato chips and chocolate bars and sweets, but it's probably the burger which is really going to draw you in. So grab yourself a tasty snack when you get the munchies. A few steps later, cross the road, turn the right a little bit, and there's a nice view of Freedom Square with the big unmissable white cross. And on the opposite side, where I am now, there is the Russian Theatre. Wanted to get a little closer view because although we did see it from a distance the other day, I wanted to get a little closer to see what performances were going on, see if something caught my eye. Not that I'm likely to go to watch a performance of anything. I have heard there's a diverse selection of entertainments that go on here. Oh, there's Cyrano de Bergerac being put on at some point. There are burlesque nights as well occasionally, if that tickles your fancy. Two figures, medieval figures, I'm guessing, in brickwork. Looks like a city official office of some kind, but I'm just interested in those figures holding the lights above. Interesting, for me anyway. And walking a little bit further up the road, only 1 minute, and we've got a specialty shop here with what appear to be handmade jewellery items, particularly people into alternative gothic black metal type of things. Or if you wouldn't describe yourself like that, you might just think, actually, I like it because it looks cool. So I think with this vast selection that they've got in the window alone, there's enough that would normally warrant an idle tourist to step inside and see more. However, I've got that feeling, yeah, very, 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 very limited opening hours. I guess if you are the proprietor and making some of these things, you genuinely probably don't have time to have the shop open. But if you can make it on these days, between these hours, I've got a hunch this would be a fascinating little place to step inside and look around. Who knows what else is hidden away in there? some little gems, I suspect. In no time at all, something else catches the eye. And is then quickly obscured by the traffic. But it's quite an eye-catching building, I would say. For one thing, I'm absolutely amazed that given the amount of traffic that's going around, the stonework is so clean. Whether it's just lucky for me because it's recently been given a makeover, I don't know. Some attractive architecture, I think. And twin towers of the church. Let's have a look from the other side, shall we? As you can see, or perhaps you can't see because they're off in the distance, there does seem to be a little gathering of people who have been enjoying a morning service or the christening of a child or something or other. Doesn't look like an actual wedding. But the thing was, when I hopped over there, the church had just appeared to be closed. There were these folks outside, and it's bad enough walking around looking like a spanner, holding a small camera in your hand, talking to a little microphone without intruding on someone's private function. Obviously, the church was open long enough for something or other to be carried out, some ritual, who knows. But there the people are leaving now. For the brief spell it was open early morning, I missed out, I'm afraid, so I didn't get to look in the inside of the building, which just means I've got to come back another day, another visit to Tallinn, and perhaps that will be the appropriate day that I can get access to view what may or may not be viewable to an idle tourist like me who wants to take a peep. And here's that opera house. It's a twin-fronted building. Conservatories, concert hall down the far side. Here's the opera house. I'm probably a bit too close to it to get a proper view. And from some classical architecture to some equally interesting looking artwork, which just happens to have appeared outside the shopping mall on this shipping container. It's an acquired taste perhaps for some of you, but I like the look of it. This is the kind of thing which crops up over in the Tallinn district if you ever find yourself, Jesus. That's all I need, an old woman coughing in my face. Yes, back to where we were. Something nice, something different. I have absolutely no idea what this shipping container is doing here. It seems really random, but thank you for whoever dropped it off. Very nice. Ooh la la. What do we have going on here then? Bit saucy, eh? Do you see what I see? I'm not sure if it's nature's way of the leaves protecting themselves, but I happen to notice another tree with some of these spikes, these pointy bits of something sticking out of the leaves the other day, and the colour was a very vibrant red. Unfortunately, I didn't have the little camera with me, so I couldn't photograph what I saw on that occasion. So I'm just taking advantage of seeing something very, very similar here. What is going on? Either red or yellow things which are sticking out of the leaves. If the leaves were shields and these things were sticking out, you would think, okay, they're meant for warfare, self-protection. I'm not sure whether the leaves themselves, it seems elaborate, doesn't it, that the leaves would have these spiky bits on them, while the fruits, the berries, just hang a bit colourless, or maybe that's their protection, camouflage. They're not too bright, so birds don't come and eat them. Just hanging dull coloured berries or fruits, whatever you would say they were. But it's the spiky leaves which are of most interest to me. What are they there for? What are they about? I'm shame really that they're not more colourful like the red ones I saw. But there's loads of them. Not every leaf, of course. Probably saw that for yourself. Not every leaf on this tree, or even on the same branch, has this protection mechanism, if that's what it is. Curious. Got no idea what the variety of tree it is. Oh, we can just see some ruddy tipped ones. They look as though they're a bit blooded. I don't know if that's being picked up by the camera. Almost as though a bird has cut its tongue trying to bite, or some creature has, and those pale spiky bits have become a bit blooded. But I think they begin dark red and then turn from that blood red colour ultimately to pale. A real curiosity to me, and probably absolutely of no interest whatsoever to most people watching, so feel free to disregard this interest of mine, or if you should happen to know the answer, it'd be nice to let me know.